Well, hey, my name's Cherry and I love to overshare. And today I wanted to talk about the worst group home I'd ever been in. I have been in several group homes in my life, and this one I was about 15, 16 years old. It was just horrible there and I hated every second of it. And just to clarify, I got sent to the group home because my mom caught me in bed with my boyfriend. And she figured sending me to this purgatory was probably the only thing that would keep me away from him. And I mean, she was probably right. Because when I lived there, I did want to escape. I wanted to run away every day, but I just knew I would get caught. First day I was dropped off there, the foster mom and dad seemed okay. They didn't seem super nice, but they were all right. They weren't mean or anything. They took me to show me around, and the way the house was, the host family lived on the very top floor, and then there was a middle floor that had like the kitchen and stuff, and then there was a bottom floor that housed all the foster girls. When they took me downstairs to show me my room, I instantly noticed the cameras. There was multiple cameras down in a very tiny space, and one was even close to the bathroom, which really weirded me out. There was a really strong smell of mildew, and you could tell the basement was not very well ventilated. It was very moist down there. In my room, there was 5 to 6 girls, and then in another room, there was another 4 to 5 girls. So it was pretty packed in the basement. I was scared. I was scared to go to sleep at night. I mean, it felt like a dungeon down there. And keep in mind, all of those girls shared one bathroom, one tiny bathroom. After they showed me what was basically my holding cell, they told me the rules of the house. I wasn't allowed to go upstairs past 8 p.m. So if I wanted water or anything, I needed to take it with me, but I was only allowed to have water downstairs. I was allowed 1 roll of toilet paper a week. If I went over that, that's just too bad. Meals were at specific times, and if I wasn't there, then I don't eat. And then they got to the best rule of all time, the one that I struggled with and I could never beat. There was a level system. It was 0 to 5, and level 0 is you have nothing, you deserve nothing, you will be stripped of everything you love, you will have no communication with anybody. And level 5, you had better privileges, you got to hang out with a friend every once in a while. I don't know, I'm sure there was other privileges, but I never got to level 5, ever. So because I was new, I started out on level 0. In their house, respect was earned, and until you could show you were someone worth respecting, you are on level 0, and everyone will treat you like crap. I had pictures of my family and my little brothers that brought me a lot of comfort, but I was not allowed to have them right away. I had to get to a level 1 to have pictures of my family that brought me comfort. The whole point was to isolate me and make me feel like I had nothing. And I mean, it worked. I cried myself to sleep every single night. I started to develop a pretty good relationship with some of my foster sisters. We would plot how to escape together, and I was just always too scared to run away. I didn't want to disappoint people. My one foster sister, though, she ran away, and she actually did get away. Anyways, while I was on level 0, they sent me to school, and they had chose my clothes for me to wear, and it was just some ugly clothes. So they sent me to school as a teenage girl in some ugly ass clothes. And I was not allowed any makeup. I was not allowed anything to do my hair. So I went to school with crazy hair, boy clothes, and no makeup. And when we would get home from school on the bus, they would do makeup checks on us just to make sure we didn't put any eyeliner on in the day, because how could we ever disobey them? After some time, I had gotten onto level 1, and I was super happy because they gave me the pictures of my family. I hung them up all above my bed on the wall, and they just made me super happy. They brought me a lot of comfort. I remember this one day I went to school, and when I came back, all of my stuff was gone. All my pictures were gone, and I just broke down and started sobbing because I felt so alone and not seen, and I had a mental breakdown. I started yelling and I was crying and I was just mad. It turns out they took all my stuff away because my mom had called and said that I didn't deserve to be on level 1 yet. I didn't deserve any comfort whatsoever. There was an incident that happened a couple months after I had been there. I was in the laundry room on the main floor because that was the only place where they didn't have cameras. and I was just kind of chilling in there, standing in there. The foster dad came into the laundry room and was talking with me, and he was kind of like a jokester, but I backed up to the end of the laundry room and he kind of came in and he closed the door and he just stared at me for a minute, and then he just opened the door and walked back out. I had all the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. I felt like I was in danger in that moment, but I also knew there was no one for me to tell because I was on level 0 and I don't deserve to communicate with anybody. For whatever reason, food-wise, they just gave us a lot of yogurt and string cheese, and a lot of the girls got into the habit of just dipping the cheese in the yogurt and we would pretend it's cheesecake. And yeah, we just ate a lot of yogurt and string cheese. I think a big reason life was so hard for me there was because a lot of the girls that were there because they didn't have parents and they have just been in the foster system. But I was there because my mom put me there. She wanted me to be there. She didn't want to deal with me. Because I still had a mom, I was also ordered to follow her set of rules too. It felt like I was under 2 giant thumbs and I could just never get out of it. The host family would take their kids on outings and the foster girls were just not allowed to go, even though they're very clearly using the money they are given to take care of us to go to the outing. But if we weren't on level 4 or 5, we are not allowed to go. And surprise, surprise, basically none of the girls were ever on level 5. We would run out of toilet paper, and instead of getting mad at the foster parents, we would get mad at each other because the girls would start stealing other girls' toilet paper, and it created like a war in the basement. There was a war in the mildewy basement. It created a very toxic environment where I had my foster sisters and we were like one group, and then there was another group of foster sisters we just hated each other. There was one time I had one foster sister who was a little bit crazy, and there was a room connected to our room that was like a storage room. And there was a hole in the wall and she wanted to go through it. And so we did. We climbed through the hole in the wall, and my foster sister grabbed multiple bottles of NyQuil and came out of the hole, and she insisted that we chug them together. And I was so naive. I was like, huh? Why would we do that? I hate NyQuil. That's nasty. She said, no, Cherry. This is the way we go to sleep tonight. If you just drink it and you hold out, you'll just forget that you're even here. I was flabbergasted. And I did try to talk her out of it, but she did what she did. And she did chug the NyQuil, like all the bottles of it. There was hell for her to pay the next day when the foster family found it. Now, of course, I didn't go tell on my girl. It's just the foster family, they were always up in everyone's business, constantly searching everything, constantly looking for reasons to put us back on a level 0. And it was hard to watch my foster sisters get yelled at. I mean, I was okay with people yelling at me, but never anyone I ever cared about. It always made me the angriest. They never took the time to figure out why she was doing what she was doing. They just made her feel like she was the devil for making any mistake. And nothing made me more angry than when the host family would just smear all their privileges in our face. We just felt like dogs. We felt like dogs in a house of people that hate dogs. I started summer school while I was there, and I ended up graduating a year early because of that. And that was the way I was able to convince my mom to let me come home, because I was like, Mom, like, I'm graduated, I don't have to go to school, and I can earn money. But I mean, shortly after that, she kicked me to the streets at 17 years old. I came back, and I guess she realized that the home she put me in didn't shape me or change me or make me more controllable. So yeah, she kicked me out, and I moved in with the very same boyfriend she was mad finding me in bed with. So funny. It's so crazy how things work, right? And I've been with that same man for the last 10 years, happily. So there was no need to send me to the damn foster home. There was no need. Anyways, if you have watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. You are a sweetheart. And if you liked my crazy story, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Bye, loves.